Hello everybody, Drifty here from Driftwood Gaming, and this is a special request RPG Maker MB tutorial for Leon Ung. And he says, "Hi Drift, I need my character to use MP to run and unable to run when my MP is 0. Any idea how to event this?" Well, you're going to need 3 plugins for this to work, Leon, so let me show you how to do it, and then first I'll show you what plugins you need. I'll put a link in the description below to where you can get those plugins, so that this can work in the exact way that you want it to work. The first thing that you're going to need to get is Yanfly's button common events, and that's this one right here. And what you're going to do is basically bind a common event to activate your while you're dashing. I've selected the key D, but you can select whatever key you want. So I've made a common event and I've bound it to the key D, and I've the number that's right here is the number of the common event. So you're going to need that button common events plugin. You're going to need a plugin from TDDP, and it's the manage dashing. This is to disable the auto dash from the menu. So all you have to do is get this plugin installed and leave all these the same, except you're going to edit remove always dash option, and you're going to set that true. So they'll be all false by default, so you just go into remove always dash option, double click right here, change the false to true, all lowercase letters, and that's all you have to do with that plugin. The third plugin you need is a beta plugin from Yanfly. He just released it today as a special request. So he actually released it for you through me. So the third plugin you're going to need is a plugin, a beta version plugin from Yanfly, and it's called, let me find it, Disable Dashing or something like that. Let me find it. Sorry, I just got it. I don't know where to put it. Oh, right here. Yep_dash toggle. So this is a plugin that just came out. So with those 3 plugins, the dash toggle, the button common event, and TDDP's manage dashing, you can make your system work. Okay, so once you've got those plugins, the link will be in the description. What you're going to do is go to your database and create 2 common events. You're going to need 2. So the first one, you're going to name it whatever you want, MP runner or toggle running or something like that. But we're going to make a conditional statement. So in this conditional statement, what we're going to do is create a new switch. Doesn't matter what number it is. Just call it MP dashing. And select if that switch is off. So we'll go into here, create a new one, name it MP dashing, and select off. We're also going to check create an else branch. So in that first thing, we're going to make an animation. The animation that I've chosen is this cool looking one that shows the wings and shows a little bit of a flash. I actually need to reload MV because every now and then the audio bugs. So it's not playing the sound effect, but there's a little like swing sound effect that plays. But you want something very short on your animation. You're going to want to put an animation here, that way you know when your MP is draining, because it's basically like you have to toggle this on and off. So the 8 frames, anything under 10 frames is good enough. Anything more than 10 frames, then you might not want it. It might seem like too much. So just you can copy paste one and change it and delete some frames if you want. I like this wings one because it's for dashing, and the wings make it look kind of cool when you're moving faster. So if you want to use this one, it's actually the Holy 2 image, so you can create your own really easy by tweening an image. But back to the common events, we've shown our animation, and it's important that you have wait for completion unchecked. Otherwise, it won't work at all. You'll be stuck in place. Every second, you'll be stopped. So uncheck wait for completion. The character is the player. The animation is that new animation of the wings that you created. So once you've got that, what you're going to do is you're going to do a plugin command from Yanfly's new plugin. You're going to type capital E on enable, capital D on dashing. That's it. Then we're going to control that switch that's checking if this is off, and we're going to turn it on, because we have to find some way to, now that we're dashing faster, you wanted it to consume MP. Well, we have to do like a parallel process for that to consume MP. Otherwise, it'll consume MP once and you'll be dashing forever, and until you hit it again, you'll never lose any MP. So we have to create a second common event that's based off of this switch. So the next common event, we'll come back to this one. The next common event is going to rely on this switch. So when this switch is on, we'll see right here, The second common event, we'll call it MP drain while dashing, or dash drain, or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter, it's arbitrary. But the switch, we'll have to select that one that we just turned on, MP dashing, and we're going to set the trigger to parallel so it runs every frame. Now, how much MP you want to drain is completely dependent up to you and how much MP you're giving your party members. So you're going to either change MP from the whole party, it's up to you, or like your lead party member or whoever's in the party. You can event this. Every game will be different. I've just selected one party member, the lead party member, and I've set the operation to decrease the constant of 3. So remember, this is going to run every frame unless you do a wait command. Now, normally when you do a wait command, it's going to freeze up the game and make you wait. But however, if you do a wait command in a parallel process, a cool little trick, you can make that parallel process run as often or as little amount of time that you want. So if you don't do a wait command, it's going to run every frame and it's going to drain your MP super fast. I mean, if you're running 60 frames a second, it's going to drain whatever MP decrease you use times 60. So in 1 second, this would take 180 MP. So that doesn't seem very balanced. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert a wait command, and what you want to do is change this numbers, tweak it just so that it seems right to you. There's 2 ways that you can edit this. You can edit this by deciding how much MP you want to take every tick, which will be about 1 second, and edit the frames. So basically the way I have it set it up right now, every second we're going to see an animation, a very short animation that's going to play to let the player know that they're consuming MP and they're in the dashed state, and it's also going to take that MP and show the animation and allow them to be in that state. So underneath the wait command, we're going to show that same animation on the player for that new winged leader state, or that was for a different thing in another game. You can call it whatever you want, it doesn't matter. But what's important is you have wait for completion unchecked. That you don't want that checked. Then we're going to do this is a small script call, nothing complicated. What we're going to do is a conditional branch. So do a conditional branch, go over to tab 4 and select script, do $game, capital A on actors, .actor, and this number that you put in the parentheses here is going to be the actor that you're checking their MP, so your lead character. If you're not sure what number to put here, hit apply, go over to actors, and look for the actor that you want to check for like your lead character, and then you're going to select this number. For Driftwood, he's 1, so in the common events for this conditional statement, I put 1. If you wanted to drain from multiple or all party members, you would just do nested conditionals. So $game, capital A on actors, actor1.mp, that's going to check their current MP. If you were to go MP, it would check how much maximum they have. So it's just .mp. And now this is a comparison operator. So with 3 equal signs, it's basically checking, is it this number? It's like a question saying, is actor 1's MP 0? And that's all you have to do is put 3 equal signs and a 0. So underneath that, in the conditional statement, if your main actor or whoever you're checking has no MP left, what we're going to do is do another plugin command. So plugin command, I've gone over this before, tab 3 at the bottom under advanced, just do a plugin command right there. You're going to type in another Yanfly plugin command, capital D on disable, no space, capital D on dashing. Really simple. That's all you have to do. Underneath that, you'll have to control the switch now that we've drained all the MP. We need to turn off dashing, which we just did, but we also need to disable this plugin. That way, or I'm sorry, plugin, this common event. That way, if the player like drinks a potion, they don't just lose all their MP really fast. So we're going to turn off this parallel process by just deactivating this switch. So we're going to control switch and turn off the switch that's operating this parallel process common event. So turn off switch 72, MP dashing off. This will deactivate this, and it'll go back to here. So when you want to deactivate this, you hit the same button that you used to activate it. So when I press D, it's going to go into the dashing state. Animation's going to play every second. MP is going to be drained every second, and I'm going to be able to dash. When I press D again, it's going to turn off that dashing animation. It's going to stop draining MP, and dashing is going to be disabled. So on the else handler, we're going to show that same animation, or you can show a different animation here to show that it's turned off. It's completely up to you. but we're going to do that same plugin command that plays when you run out of MP. We're going to go plugin command, disable dashing, capital D's on the disable and the dashing, one word. Then we're going to do that same control switch, turning off that MP dashing. That way we don't have to run out of MP to disable dashing. It's not like you press it once and you're completely stuck until you're out of MP. You can toggle it on or off however you want. So you press D and you're able to hold down shift and dash, or even if you're using controller. I tried it a different way. This way works better. That way even if you're using a controller, it's still going to work the same, and you don't have to check for any key presses. That's why you want to use the Anfly's button common events. Super cool plugin, one of my absolute favorites. And if I could throw a little bit of my influence out there, please go vote for Picture Common Events. It's all the way down at the bottom, like last place almost, but it's going to be so important, and I promise you I'll be able to do so many cool things with this plugin. Go to yanfly.mo and his YouTube channel and vote for the next plugins that are going to come out. Picture Common Events. Go do that, okay? So after you've got these two common events, there's one more thing you have to do. So this enable dashing and disable dashing, well, mainly the enable and the toggle dashing, because there's another plugin command. You can check out the help file if you're more interested in learning more about this beta plugin. The enable dashing will not override if you go to another way you can disable dashing is if you just select disable dashing on the map properties right here itself. And the enable dashing will not override this. So say for example you go to the world map or like a really dense dungeon where you don't want the player to be able to dash, you can still use this plugin, and the plugin will not override the map properties of disable dashing. So if we have disable dashing on right here, then you will not be able to dash no matter what if you're consuming MP or not. So really cool. Lots of checks and balances. So if you want to enable dashing, you have to make sure that this is unchecked. But one more thing you'll have to do, like I said, you'll have to make a common event. You only have to set it one time to disable it from default. At the beginning of whenever you enter a map, it's this very small parallel process, and this is just to set. Oh, this isn't the one I'm looking for. Which is it? This one? Yeah, it's this one. All you're going to have to do is do a trigger auto run. It has to be auto run. You don't want it to be anything else than auto run. Parallel process would work probably, but it might trigger when you don't want it to. Just use auto run. It's going to be easier. So it doesn't need any image. You leave everything default. You select the trigger of auto run. You're going to put in a plugin command, and you're going to disable dashing. Now this is going to be on a map. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to the map properties. The map properties have to be unchecked, disable dashing, so you're normally able to dash on it. But what we're going to do, since we want to consume MP to dash, we have to disable dashing from the beginning. So as soon as the player enters this map, this auto run event is going to take place. It's going to disable dashing, and then it's going to erase event. Now don't use a self switch. Like some people do this. I've seen it, and a lot of people wonder why it doesn't work. They use a self switch and they do a new page, self switch A's. This is really cool if you only want the event to run one time and that's it. See, if we have self switch A on, then this will happen. So what will happen is it'll disable dashing the first time you enter map. That's considering we would like that was gone. But if you leave the map and come back, it's not going to disable dashing again. It's going to leave it the same. So a general rule, when you want something to trigger multiple times, you don't use self switches or switches to new pages. You just simply put in erase event. Because how erase event works is it erases it while you're on the map. But if you leave the map and you come back, it's going to auto run this again and erase, and then it'll just do that infinite number of times, letting you repeat the process and making your systems work. So know when to use erase event and know when to use self switches and other switches. So that's basically it. Once you do all of that, if you set your plugins up, make sure that you set this to true. Otherwise, the player will be able to go into their menu and then just enable auto dashing. I always do that. Everybody usually, I would imagine people do that. They would go into their options and they would enable auto dashing. But see, with that set to true, there's no auto dashing feature available right here. That way your system will work the way you want it to. So if we do a new game, we can see, just ignore this is from another plugin, still working with Really cool plugin. I just put a video, go watch that if you're interested in how to make that happen. But okay, so I'm holding the shift button, which would normally let me dash, and the map is going to let me dash, but we've disabled dashing with that auto run event. So now if I press the D button, I've enabled dashing. So pressing D is going to consume MP, but it doesn't make you dash automatically. It just enables you to use the dash button. So now I'm holding shift and it's consuming MP. You can see it's got 110 now, and I can dash, or I can not dash, or I can dash. This is toggling shift, not pressing shift. Now I'm pressing shift, not pressing shift. But if I press the D button, now I'm pressing shift and I'm not dashing, and I still have MP because I toggled it off with the dash button. So holding down shift does nothing if you have your MP consuming dash skill toggled off. I'll press D again. Now shift works. I can dash around, or I could walk even though I'm consuming, but I could dash around. Maybe I want to get through this door and my character's moving too fast, so I'll go slow, but now I want to run around. And you can toggle the timing on that. You can make it every 2 seconds show the image. See, we're almost out of MP. Every 3 seconds show the animation. You kind of want it to show some sort of signal to the player, otherwise what's going to happen is the player won't know when their toggle is on or off, and they're going to run out of MP and not even understand why. Okay, so now we're out of MP. I'm still holding shift, and it just stopped dashing all on its own because I'm out of MP. So if I press D, it plays the animation, but it shuts it right off immediately. So pressing D will still show the animation, but I'm out of MP. Oh, wait, it let me dash for a second there. Okay, so I found a bug. I have 1 second of dashing spurts when I have, because it turns it on and off. So what you might want to do is set the thing, what do you call it? Set it to wait 30 frames or wait 15 frames. It'll show the animation more. So there's a little bug there, but it's still going to work generally the way you want. If you set it to a quicker frame rate, like maybe 15 frames between. And then what you could do is, instead of 3 MP draining, just set it to 1 MP and reduce it to a third. So that's what I would do. I would set it to I'll show you what I would do. But I also wanted to show you that it would work if you get some MP. So let's pick up one of these blueberries and eat the blueberries. Now we have some MP, not a whole lot, very little, but if I press D, now I can dash around again and it auto runs this until I run out of MP, which is probably going to happen. There it goes. Okay, so to make it a little more foolproof, I mean, it's still going to be annoying having to press D and shift, so when the player's out of MP, it's going to be a little more annoying. So what you could do is, instead of reducing it by 3, reduce it by 1, and then change this to every 10 or 15 frames. We'll say 15 frames. That way it's only going to give the player, you know, a fourth of a second of free dash. And let's see how that plays out. And you can tweak these numbers to do, you know, to work however you want. Okay, so let's hit the dash button. And now our animation is flying, which looks kind of cool. What I would probably do is maybe reduce the volume on the sound effect, and it's draining the MP pretty quickly. So I'll just let it drain that MP. I mean, if you think about it, your wings are probably going to be flapping pretty fast. I think what I would normally do is probably reduce the volume on that sound effect, or even remove the sound effect completely. You know, because the animation doesn't seem to be bothering me, but the sound effect is kind of very, very consistent. So we could always go into that animation, reduce the number of frames, and maybe cut out that sound effect. So we're out of MP. Now let's see how much we can extort the system. Sort of, you know, you can sort of dash, but you're not really getting much of a dash, even when I'm like hitting the D key a lot. So that's sort of how you would do it. But this tutorial's gone on a little longer than I thought it was. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for being awesome. Continue to like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you like this sort of content. If you have a special request, put it in the comments below, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. We will see you guys in the next tutorial.